Most of the once strong Jewish community of Lithuania left between the late 1800s and World War II, many coming to South Africa. Today in Vilna, the capital city, you will find a small community made up mostly of old people.
The people who survived through Holocaust, it was very important for them to, to stick together in one or another way. Still, the past was very important, and it was an important part of their identification and finding each other, being loyal to each other and, having communal bounds.
Ich bin geblieben leben mit meinem Vater, weil wir sind entlaufen in Russland, in 1941, dem ersten Tag vom Krieg. Der Gerl von unserer Mischproche ist derselbe wie die alle jüdischen Jiden in Litauen.
I would say up to 1990, this was the most important aspect. And then after 1990, after the Lithuanian independence, naturally you have different process coming. I mean, you have institutionalization of communal life. You have communal institutions. In this building where we are right now, there are, to my knowledge, if I'm not wrong, about 30 organizations registered. So it's a thriving communal life in a sense.
The majority of Jews live in Vilna, 3,500. We have got another 500 living in Kaunas. And then we have got Jews in another 29 cities and towns of Lithuania. Most of the younger people see their life and their future in Lithuania. So it's not that it's only a community of people who are Holocaust survivors. They have got also their kids and their grandchildren. The big hope for the Jews of Lithuania are the young people.
And why would someone want to stay in a small community with a tragic history and with an uncertain future? And I asked several people in Vilna this question, young people in particular, the future of the community. And they said to me, if we don't stay here and protect the past and protect the history and the heritage and remember what happened here and be the purveyors, the missionaries, the messengers to future generations, it's going to be forgotten. It's going to be obliterated. Joint made an active decision to help those Jewish people, our people, and then to help young families reconnect, young people reconnect to their Jewish roots.
In the late 20th century, a movement began in which people started looking into their family heritage, tracing their roots back as far as they could, and visiting their place of birth or ancestry to gain a better understanding of where they came from.
I think my interest really started with my grandmother, my mother's mother, Bela Rosenstein. She lived with us, and during my childhood I used to come home from school and talk to her about her childhood. And she was born in a place called Mažeikiai in the north of Lithuania, close to the Latvian border. And all stories of her childhood and about life in the shtetl. And that really evoked pictures for me of what life must have been like in Lithuania. And for me, that opened a world which was really one-dimensional. It was a world that I saw in terms of black and white photographs that I saw in my Boba's photograph albums. And all of a sudden it came to life. It now had color, it now had depth.
I remember the town where I was brought up till the age of 6, the house, the shul, the rabbi, etc. I also remember Zaydikan, where we used to go during the summer months on a holiday, on a dacha.
The one thing I'd never seen was my dad getting quite as emotional, and I remember there were certain places in Lithuania where he had memories of cousins or of his aunts, and these were all people who perished. And it was very interesting and very sad to see someone who had to come to terms with their memories and the people not being there anymore.
I knew from past experience that Zaydikan it's a forest, and that was the killing fields of the Jews. But the most striking feature of any of these killing fields is the dead silence. You came there in a forest, you would expect there were birds. There would be something there. This was dead quiet. When we walked through, you could hear your footsteps. It was so quiet. And this gave one a very eerie feeling.
And Abby and I went to Kovna at the 9th Fort and surrounding areas. It was a most inspiring, a sad, but a most inspiring experience of my life. And I'm now totally fulfilled that I have now understood what my grandparents' lives were like.
It was wonderful to see where one's family had come from and to get insight into their previous existence before they became the more familiar South African Jewish immigrants.
Having visited Vilna a few times because of my work at the Joint Distribution Committee, and seeing for myself firsthand the place where my mother lived and trying to imagine the happiness and the lifestyle and what it was like to be a young Jew living in the 1920s, 1930s in Vilna, and then going to the Ponari forests and knowing that her family was wiped out in the forests, saying the Kaddish there makes it very, very difficult to reflect on one's past. And yet professionally, to see the spark of Jewish life, the Pentelayid, come up to the surface, and to have a regeneration of Jewish life is something very, very special and meaningful.
Although the South African Jewish community has its roots in the shtetls of Lithuania, South Africa, the land which provided it wings, has become more than just a place of temporary dwelling. Those that settled in South Africa have come together as one of the most unique and unified Jewish communities in the world, contributing to the broader society, while, for the most part, maintaining a strong Jewish identity. They don't long for the days of their ancestral homeland, or the heim, but do remember it, and those that were left behind, with fondness and an acknowledgement of the sacrifices they made to allow the later generations a better life.